All right, welcome on into the show. My name is Deny Gallagher, and I am joined by the snare campaign provocateur. And come Friday night, he's going to be $1 billion richer. It's Benny Horowitz. What's up, dude?
I never have numbers to play.
Oh, yeah?
Wait, all right. So we were talking about this off air.
Yeah.
Well, don't you have to play 5 numbers to play the numbers?
Yeah, it's 5 numbers and then a Powerball number. So yeah, so it's 6 total numbers. So pretty much.
So I play 2-1-1, 2-1-1,
or you just do. I think most people do the quick pick.
Oh, where they guess for you?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that. No, I worked at a deli for a long time where someone would come in with a weird little notebook and keep me there for like 7 minutes, being like, okay, next one. 4, 8, 6, 2, 4, 7 times. Okay, next one. I did that shit a lot. So I think I would enjoy being that guy.
Yeah.
Now, to tell the people, the number 211, I won't go into the murky details as I just told Denny, but your boy over here almost got into trouble and was about to get locked in Europe and not be able to go home because of a passport issue. I boofed it. It's my fault. What are you going to do? But, you know, in a couple, 2-3 very anxiety-ridden days, I was able to apply for renewal. And as I was inquiring about the renewal, I got a text from my wife saying that it arrived and it's here. And both texts happened at the same time at 2:11. So I think those are my numbers.
Yeah.
For how long? I don't know. The life of the passport? Next 10 years? Is 2:11 my numbers? 2 and 11 are 2 of my roulette numbers too. So this is all. This is interesting.
I go sports numbers only. So
always.
I go,
always.
Well, lucky number 8. I was always number 8 in like sports. So I go with that. 8, 14, 23, because you always got to throw.
Got to play Jordan.
Yeah,
you got to play Jordan. I'm always on 23.
34 now has entered the rotation. Giannis.
Oh, for you, sure.
Giannis.
Sure.
And then. You know, you've always got to end with a nice 69 when you do the lottery, right?
Stop. No, you don't have to. You know, it's a funny one for me. 33 will always be played in perpetuity for Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
33 will never be a number that doesn't relate me to Patrick Ewing. I think it's because of my brother.
Yeah.
Big Knicks fan. I believe his email for a while was the BJC 33, which means the Black Jewish Camel, by the way.
For those of you playing along at home.
Yeah. Oh, so I got to go play the numbers. So, all right, let's talk about this then. Yeah. Say I hit.
Mm-hmm.
You have an option, right? Don't you have like, okay, you'll get paid like $800 million, we tax you like $200 million, or you can do like monthly payouts or something.
Yeah. Are you taking the annuity? Yeah.
Got to take the cash up front, right?
Oh no, man! You take this over time.
Well, what's my first? But let's talk. What's my first check then? If I'm taking it over time, I mean, it's a lot to cut up there.
So you probably get, I don't know, like if it's $1 billion, like it is for tonight, you probably get like $1 million a month.
Because who knows? I'm getting old, Denny.
Oh, come on.
I could die at any time. I want the game changer money right off the bat, so I could so I can play around in the dirty, murky waters of whatever happens in the upper crust of like. I've already infiltrated some worlds. You got to know this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't supposed to do what I did. Like I've infiltrated my whole life.
Generational wealth.
If I can proper infiltrate the upper crust and put like my shit in there, you know, like all of a sudden, like instead of a country club, you have like, you know, the Isaac Hayes Museum and playground for children. And you know what I mean? Like that's the shit I would do with my money. So give me the money. I'll do cool shit with it. I won't do Charles Barkley stuff, you know?
I saw that this somebody won a $500 million jackpot a couple years ago, and they went and built a water park. The water park lasted 1 season.
Yeah, I think so. I actually listened to a podcast about this, Denny, and the rate of people's lives being absolutely destroyed after winning the lotto is very high.
Yeah.
Like most people completely fuck up their lives after. So I kind of want to consider this in like a Brewster's Millions sort of way. Like it was never my money, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get rid of this in like 30 days and go right back to my life. I'm just going to put it out there in the most bizarre ways. It'll pay back to me. I'm like, this is like LeBron James's promise school, but my version. I'm just tossing money into cool shit all over the world. And then I'm going right back to what I do and where I live, back to my normal life. And then whatever trickles back. That's my plan. I like this. What do you think?
I wish I had time to weigh in on this, but we've already run way over. And you know what time it is, and you know what segment always trickles back, Benny?
I don't.
It's This Day in Music History. What do you
got? It's a tough one today, wasn't it?
There were a lot of potential options here for this day.
You know what was tough today? It was like I've been having a hard time not doing like. So recently, I've listened to a bunch of podcasts that are basically ruining every band I've ever liked.
Oh, okay.
Like from the 60s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so I've been trying to do positive ones. So no more music is ruined for me. You know what I mean? Like half of the 60s has been ruined for me in like the last 6 months listening to podcasts because everyone was a total piece of shit. So we got to keep it posy in this day in music history, right?
Yeah, posy, of course.
So this one, you know, I don't think people would expect me to be a Strokes fan. I like the Strokes. If you never told me anything about the Strokes and just gave me one of their records, I'd be like, this is really good, especially like a couple of their records. And one of those is This It? And on today in music history, on July 29th, the Strokes released Is This It? Which kind of changed like a little bit of like the course of pop music for a little while. Like you had that early turn into this, you know, people going back to garage rock and street rock a little bit. And like all of a sudden there's handsome guys in New York wearing Cheap Trick pants again. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of sexy and cool. And I think as time goes on, that scene that popped out at the time, you know, covered well by Lizzie Goodman and Meet Me in the Bathroom. I think it's gonna live on in infamy as an important time in music where you saw some major shifts, and this record was a big part of it. So I'm making that This Day in Music History.
That's awesome. Keep it posy. Keep that entire scene going along. Because
don't talk to me about John Phillips or David Ruffin anytime in the next.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yikes.
Oh. All right, Benny. Well, I'm going to take it back to the 60s that have been completely trashed for you by podcasts. On this day in 1966, Bob Dylan was riding his motorcycle to a garage near his home in Woodstock, New York for repairs when his rear wheel locked. Dunzo. Dylan lost control and was thrown over the handlebars, suffering a broken neck vertebrae. His recuperation period sent him into reclusivity. He was just not out on Front Street and pretty much hid for the world and was creating internally. So yeah, so we may have got some pretty neat stuff out of it, but definitely don't want to see anybody get thrown over the handlebars. So this day, 1966, maybe changed the entire trajectory of Dylan's life. Who knows?
I think things like that change the entire trajectory of music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like think about the body of work Bob Dylan put together from 1966 forward. And what if he was part of the club? Part of the early 20s club who had a couple of great records and then went away. Like, think of how much we missed. It's as the Al Pacino said, this is a game of inches, Denny. You know?
I wasn't sure if you were going Any Given Sunday or Heat there because the scene with De Niro and him. But yeah.
That would have worked. It's a game of inches.
It's a game of inches.
Dylan goes 3 inches to the left. I don't have most of the time one of my favorite songs in history, you know?
Yeah.
Like these things matter. We're lucky
Was
all the time, brother.
Woodstock, so like the actual town of Woodstock, New York, not the festival that was an hour south, which is like crazy how that whole thing happened.
But
But
gotta say, especially in 66,
yeah.
probably a great place to ride a motorcycle.
Oh
For
yeah.
real.
Well, a lot of
Fun
hills.
up there. A
A
lot of
lot of
hills, a lot of
hills.
turns.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
I can't imagine what that entire town was like back then because like you
Yeah.
go to it like now and it's almost like tries to act like it was stuck in like 1966 and 1970s, but yeah.
I think, you know what? Like I go up to that area a lot
Mm,
and it's really rural. It still is. You know, a lot of the lifestyle up there is really it's about farming, it's about the outdoors still, you know, like all the normal stuff. And then I think even in the 60s you had you had the same thing. You had rich New Yorkers who had
yeah,
cars and ways to get up there. Like it wasn't I think there was less of them.
yeah.
But Bob Dylan was probably just spending a lot of time in like Manhattan. He met like, you know, someone in the music industry who was like super rich and had a house up there and started hanging out and then found a cafe and like same fucking foofy shit that happens now.
Great film festival up there. See you guys in a couple months over there. But by the
Ooh.
way, I love for the viewing audience on YouTube right now. Like Benny is going full Phantom of the Opera. Like for a lot of this, we can only see half of his face, which is
Oh, really?
yeah,
Which way should I go? This way?
a little right there, right there. But then move your body. Like your body's got to be a little bit more centered. Like line up
Like
with us
here.
here. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But now I'm sideways.
All right. Well, you can
Ah!
fix yourself while I read this next headline, Benny. First headline today, Benny. How much would you pay for a single concert ticket? There we go. Much better.
Okay, let's hang out
Well,
here.
apparently, if you're trying to see Bruce Springsteen in 2023, it's going to cost you. Ticketmaster has instituted a sliding price scale for platinum seats, which caused some Bruce tickets to go upwards to $5,000 or more. That's
Yeah.
crazy. The system, quote, enables market based pricing, adjusting prices. So, pretty much, if you've ever ridden Uber or Lyft, it's like surge pricing, but for
Yeah.
concert tickets.
Yeah.
Ticketmaster thought this was a good idea to try to eliminate the resale market. So, yeah, first things first, Benny. Is this a good idea for Ticketmaster to try to eliminate this resale market by essentially enacting these surge prices?
Well, I mean, something needs to be done about the resale market, but I'm not sure if Ticketmaster is the person to do it because last time I looked, it's a fucking nightmare ordering tickets on Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still a normal person every once in a while. I bought seats for my dad,
Hmm.
you know, like went through Ticketmaster, got him a couple things for something. As usual, I'm by the end of it, I'm like, what the fuck am I paying for?
Yeah.
I just paid twice the amount for my ticket, and God knows what it just went to. It's just these, you know, this series of fees and steps and percentages that they just add along the way. And before you know it, it's what people think is just normal. And then they can keep adding on to that. And before you know it, it's just absurd. And I think it's at that absurd point. So, you know, if Ticketmaster really wanted to help, it's not their job to eliminate the resale market. It's their job to fix their own site and make tickets more cheap and accessible to people and cutting out some of the middlemen, which they know they can do. Like seriously. And Ticketmaster's about to sell a ton of my fucking tickets for too much money. And I hate it. I don't know what else to do at this point. You know, I'm a drummer in a band and I need to make some money myself. And, you know, like you get stuck inside these systems that you know are incorrect. Pearl Jam tried to take it on. Like I can't do it. So I know it's bad, but I don't really know what you're supposed to do about it at this point, especially, you know, like maybe on this level there is something to do about it, but it is a problem. Now to deal with this Bruce thing, like, you know, I heard $5,000 a ticket and the normal guy in me just shudders at first, you know, just the sheer number. Like it seems astronomical. Then I consider that like every single time an NBA team takes the court, there's rows of people who pay $2, $3, $4, $5, $10,000 for courtside seats to see 90 minutes of somebody playing a sport. You know, if this was Pavarotti or some crazy theater ticket or something that cost $5,000, no one would bat an eye. You wouldn't even know about it. I think it's like the rock and roll tinge that makes like the money uglier for some reason. Like Bruce Springsteen is like he's a connectable person. He's the everyman, and he kind of is. Like, I've actually met the guy and he comes off like that, you know, like it really seems like this is the type of dude who, like, you know, would do this. I watched him take out the trash at someone's house. So like this is kind of a real dude, but then at the same time, this is about value, you know, and this is like a career of hard work, like 40, 50 years of it. And you're going to like pay for like an amazing night with the twilight of one of like the all-time great performers. And if it's worth that much to people to pay that price, that means that's how much it's valued at. So there is like a simple thing to it, as with everything, is like, if you're that offended by the price, don't go to the Bruce Springsteen show and the price will go down. But you know what? People are going to pay it because they want that seat and they want to see it. And that means he's worth it. And like, if there's anybody we're going to, like, you're about to pay a baseball player $500 million. It's going to happen in the next year or two. Like, so when you put it in that context, I don't give a shit if Bruce Springsteen gets paid that much money, and I want him to get paid that much money. Like, Jeff Bezos just made more than Bruce is worth in like a week. You know, like that's real money. That's crazy money. This is like rock and roll performer money. And if there's anyone I want to see get it, it's him. So pay the fucking cool people, you know?
It's a little hard to swallow, though, because after we just talked for like a few weeks about how Bruce sold his entire catalog for $500 million. So it's like, listen, I get the $5,000 ticket range, and the price, if you go to see him in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is going to be a lot more than if you go to see him at Madison Square Garden or wherever. I understand that. But, you know, there was a band a few years ago that put a cap on the dynamic prices. You can put like the market can fluctuate depending on the demand, but it can only hit this amount of price. I think if you put a cap on it, nobody's upset.
That seems realistic. That seems reasonable. I mean, has there been any explanation from the Bruce camp about this?
It's funny you mention that, because John Landau, clap back, in the New York Times, he said that a modest number of their tickets, so like not too many, sold for more than $1,000. But he said the true average price for the seats that went on sale was in the mid 200 range, which he'll play between 20 and 30 songs. See, when I go to a concert, I always kind of, when I'm throwing down money, I'm like, okay, how many songs am I going to get out of this? So you get like per song. And if you kind of do it that way, if he plays between 20 and 30 songs, that's
in $15, what, $8 a song?
$7 ish. Yeah. That's not too bad. Yeah.
Fine.
By the way, do you want a quick Gaslight update? Because I did this black market research for you guys. You guys,
oh no,
$35 to get in the door. That's
okay.
Good. And you guys play between 20 and 30 as well. So pretty good.
Okay. You know what would offend me?
What?
If I found out like Bruce's crew was sleeping at Motel 6, like shit like that. Yeah. Like, because when I hear this too, like, you got to imagine one thing, and there's one thing like I can pull back the curtain on, like when he shows up to a show, everybody there is getting paid by the Bruce Springsteen Foundation that day. You know what I mean? Like security, concessions, fucking merch, like. Every truck that's back there was the gas, the driver, like everything was paid for by that. It's a gigantic production. You know what I mean? Like, so there is just at the baseline a type of cost that you incur that you do have to pay back, which is like really substantial. You know, I mean, essentially it's not like, you know, you've been to these stadiums and stuff, like they're not concert ready.
Right.
So when you're offered this stadium, you're essentially renting it for the day, and you show up And you either have to go, okay, what's the audio company, staging company you usually use? We'll pay this fee for that. Or this is all of our audio and staging that we own that we're bringing into this place. But like both of those things are like such massive undertakings on a level like I can barely even understand that there's a lot of shit to this, you know? So that's where it's like, I think at the very least, there's a lot of people who like fix guitars and put up lights and drive trucks and do the types of things that you would, you know, view with more honor at times that are getting paid. Wow, I sound like a conservative for
I
Bruce
know, right?
Springsteen.
I'm like,
I'm
this
talking
is
about
crazy.
trickle down economics right now. Oh my god, what is happening? Yikes! Oh,
Oh
I got to get
man.
back to the city, Denny. Fuck.
So I guess we can start the complete speculation based off of Benny's comments here that
Yeah.
Bruce is going to show up with Gaslight at some point.
Yeah, this is absolute. If you want to call me a total fucking sycophant right now, you can do that. I'm guilty. I'm totally
Oh,
guilty right now.
I would too. You got to support the people that support you. Like
Listen,
otherwise,
man,
in this life, what are you doing?
You know what Derek Jeter said.
What did he say?
Loyalty one way is stupidity, right? Oh, yeah. All right, get me out of this topic.
All
I
right.
feel like a shill.
Oh, do you want to talk a little Paul Savino here?
I do.
All right. So, not to kind of bring down the mood here, but Paul Sorvino, who starred in Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, one of my personal favorites, and was on early seasons of Law and Order. He died this week at the age of 83. Sorvino was born in Brooklyn, and as I said, he was in Goodfellas. He played Kissinger and Nixon. He was in Dick Tracy, The Racketeer, For the Love of Money, Robert Mitchum's and Bruce Dern's The Championship Season, which he was also in on Broadway. And he got a Tony nom for that as well. So, also, in this remarkable IMDb, Warren Beatty's Red. So just like a bunch of things that touch a class as well. And really is the trend of the summer that this generation of actor, we saw James Caan, we saw Ray Liotta, Paulie Walnuts from Sopranos that was happened between our last recording and now. So just an entire generation of actors that seem to be on their way out. And, we will honor these people as long as they're here, but we seem to be losing this generation, but and that really bums me out. But Savino, heck of a legacy with Goodfellas. So just how will you remember him?
Yeah, I mean, well, Goodfellas, obviously the iconic role. Mr. 3000, great one. The Cooler,
One, yeah.
The old Law and Orders, like, and then you look, and he had 20 years under his belt even before Goodfellas. So it's just one of those, acting traditions. Like you just got used to his face and his name, and then his daughter's a great actress, and it's just brings on this great tradition of acting. So yeah, big ups. But I mean, I'd say my iconic scene that like carries me on for the rest of my life is just the jail cooking scene and watching him slice the garlic with the razor blade and like the way he's doing it and the way he controls dinner. And when he gets the wine and just like, all right, here we go. Now we're eating. It's like this weird, I don't know. It's just this like beautiful scene in this weird way that shows so many dynamics and is also just so widely entertaining. Like I've been misquoting he slices the garlic so thin it melts in the pan line like since I was like 12 years old. So I think that's the most iconic thing that sticks out for me. Hey, Denny, I got an idea.
Yeah, what's up?
In the spirit of what you just said, honoring these people when we were around, how about every once in a while, if we don't have an RIP to do, let's bring in someone and celebrate their career before they're gone.
Yeah.
You know,
like on the guest line, like in the on the YouTube broadcast,
like the living funeral kind of thing.
Man.
Let's be nice.
All right.
Let's just next time be like, oh, you know what, Gene Hackman. He's still around. I don't think he's listening to the show, but
you know, and I don't think that there's in all of media, there's no bigger defenders of Hoosiers than us. So, Gene
That's
Hackman.
probably
But
true.
wait, so who would be your top 5 people that
Oh.
I could get on, and I'll reach out to the PRs?
Oh, are we talking actors?
Yeah, or whoever. Who do you want on the tune-up? Put
Oh
it in
my
the comments
goodness.
on
This
YouTube
is
too.
tough. This is
Yeah.
tough. Is Rod Carew still alive?
Actually, I have a Rod Carew link. I'm not even kidding there.
Okay. I'd be
You want-
terrified
you
to
want-
talk to Rod Carew. I can't come in my top 5 on the spot because all I can think of right now is Gene Hackman and Samuel L. Jackson right now. So
Samuel may be a little bit trickier to get.
Sam Jackson looks like just like a fun chat. Like anytime
Yeah.
I see him, I think he'd ask you a lot of questions, like an engaging guy, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Spike, by the way, my guy Chris Herring's book got optioned by Spike Blood at the Garden.
There you
So
go.
maybe a little Spike Lee action.
I like
But
that. I like
yeah.
that.
So
All
we
right.
will
Hey,
keep it rolling. If there's someone that you are like, hey,
want us
maybe these guys
to
could
live
get
in
them.
honor.
Yeah. Tune Up HQ, hit us up there. DMs everywhere, they're open. All right. Well, not to treat this next story like a death, but it kind of is for me. Benny the Choco Taco, it's no more. The Klondike dessert got the axe as the company looks to focus in on its other products. The creator notes that the supply chain shortage that has been plaguing a lot of different industries is one of the big reasons how the Choco Taco met its demise.
Wow.
Benny, this is my favorite ice cream truck place. So in the spirit of top 5s today, Friday top 5s, Choco Taco is on the top of my Mount Rushmore, my top 5. What's your ice cream truck top 5?
Okay. Well, let me talk about the Choco Taco
Okay,
first,
please,
okay?
please.
A little bit. Because I do have a special relationship with it. Because it was when I was younger, you know, I think I had a large gap before I visited ice cream trucks. So I only remember Choco Taco being available at Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And like in the 90s, like the only place you could find a Choco Taco was at Taco Bell. And there was one Taco Bell in like my entire county that we used to like drive to. Like it was far. And we just loved Taco Bell and make special missions to go out there and always closed it out with a Choco Taco. So that's why it kind of has a, you know, sentimental place for me. But I got to say, I think Choco Taco was like the band Rush. You know, like not everyone wants a chewy shell-like substance with their ice cream. Just like not everybody likes Geddy Lee's vocals. I think Choco Taco had a very niche audience. And it was never like a top of the charts ice cream, you know? So I'm not totally surprised to see it get the axe, I'm afraid.
I'm super surprised because I kind of thought that Choco Taco was good humor, and which is like good humor is like the Marvel to like Klondike's DC. Like,
right.
Like so to kind of see that they were on like the Batman Superman side of things was a little bit surprising for me.
Yeah. All right, now let's go top. See, it's funny you say top 5 because this is gonna show something about me, which is I am an insane creature of habit. I like what I like, and I literally don't even think I've ever gotten more than 3 items at an ice cream truck.
So then top 3.
And that's because my 3 items are number 1, Chipwich. 100% Chipwich. This is an easy, you know, bet choice for me. Yeah. Number 2, chocolate vanilla swirl in a cone.
Yeah.
Soft serve. Delicious. Maybe some Sprinkies. And on the off chance I'm just feeling like it, I'll take myself an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
Besides for that, those little fruit pops, the things with the ears, like all the no thanks. That's my top 3 forever and always. What's yours?
All right, we got to stay traditional here. Obviously, number 3, we got, you know, just chocolate vanilla soft serve. Nothing like it out of the Mr. Softy. But then when I get into like the good humor and like the Klondike things, number 2, the strawberry shortcake pop.
Oh, see,
love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
I just ignore those. I ignore those.
Honorable mention for me before I get to the 1. Love me a ice cream sandwich. If it's shaped like Mickey Mouse, I'm even happier. And number one, the Choco Taco. So, and there was a ice cream truck. So where I grew up, rural New Jersey, you played up there. The ice cream truck did not exist. And this
Oh,
is
right.
like mid 2000s
Yeah.
into like whenever. So
Bad
when
for
we got
business
one,
up there.
yeah,
It's
houses
like,
are far
yeah,
apart.
3 kids and like 10 miles.
But on select summers, we would have it, and it would show up, and it would like rock my entire world.
It was
And they
like an
had,
angel.
yeah,
Oh.
and they had a short-lived Choco Taco that was the fried Choco Taco that instead of vanilla ice cream had cinnamon ice cream.
I like that.
Yeah,
Which is
great.
interesting because the only 2 desserts you could get at Taco Bell were the churros.
Yeah,
And so I like that they mixed the churros and the Choco Taco. That sounds pretty good,
So-
actually. Well, rest in peace, Choco Taco. You know what? That's an easy thing to recreate at home.
yeah. So,
Maybe we'll see some cool homemade Choco Tacos now.
looking at you, Tarico, make it, and
Yeah.
you charge $15.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Benny. Next headline today, Benny, Saudi Arabia is looking to reinvent society. And no, we're not talking about Live Golf and Phil Mickelson. The Middle Eastern country is building a city that is in a tall, narrow stripe that will, and the wall will run 105 miles long. They're hoping to team it with 9 million residents running on completely renewable energy. So they're selling this as you want to be eco-friendly? Come to Saudi Arabia. We're living so clean. So, and everything in this structure you'll be able to run your entire daily life within 5 blocks. Like everything you need will be right there. It'll stretch from the Dead Sea eastward into the desert, into the mountain range. So across all of Saudi Arabia. But Benny, here's the 411 on the building. So it will be only 20 meters wide, which I'd get a little claustrophobic, I think, which is about 220 yards. So 2 football fields wide. That's all. That's all you get for the whole thing. It will rise 500 meters above sea level, higher than the Empire State Building. As I said, residents will be able to run errands within a 5-minute walk, which that means that's a lot of grocery stores. I don't know how supply chain is going to work there. There will be no cars or roads, so completely carless society. And the high-speed rail will take you from one end of the country to the other in 20 minutes. So 105 miles in 20 minutes. I don't know. That sounds okay. But
fast. It's fast.
Benny, are you joining the likes of Phil Mickelson, Charles Barkley, and moving to this society in Saudi Arabia?
Well, you just mentioned 2 people who are definitely not Jewish. First off, Charles Barkleystein doesn't have to worry about that shit. Yeah, Barklestein doesn't have to worry about that.
Oh man.
See, I mean, that's my first question. Anytime you're dealing with Saudi Arabia, and I know this is like we're talking about in a joking way, but this is like just like any country. I'm not playing that, but like this is some awful things and blood on its hands. And this is where like I think about this building and it's like, who gets to live in there and under what kind of restrictions? Yeah. And this like magical video they made that I watched. It was lovely video. It was a great video. It was a lovely representation of something that doesn't really exist there, to my knowledge, which is freedom, especially for women. And it had a woman just living her life freely in this video, and I'm pretty sure that's not how it goes there. Can I live in that building?
Oh, come on.
I don't think I'm allowed.
Gaslight will play once a week. Come on.
Yeah, we'll go play the Crown Prince's like his kid's 16th birthday or something. What's the equivalent of a quinceañera in Saudi Arabia? I don't know. But
any guess I had would be offensive. So continue.
And then just on top of that, like maybe just consider me scarred from Xanadu and the destruction of the Meadowlands and Giant Stadium. But my faith in the completion of these projects is virtually nil. And when you tell me something is supposed to be the size of the Empire State Building running 105 miles. And then a train that's going to be next to it that apparently can bring you 105 miles in 20 minutes. I'm sorry. I've never seen anything even close to that be completed. And I don't see it happening. Like Elon Musk can't even get his fucking train across LA to like open for people. Yeah. So I think this is it's probably the same as Live. It's just this like it's just a country with like a huge like unimaginable amount of money, like basically part of this like massive marketing campaign right now to like sort of normalize itself to the world. And I don't know, it seems like it's fucking working a little, and that's kind of the scary stuff. It's like the things people will quickly like, shutter their eyes to once you just put a little gloss and glamour on it. It's bread and circus. It's the same shit that's been going on for like thousands of years. It's the same reason we had gladiator fights and shit. It's just keep the people focused on something else when something larger is at work. And I just think that's all that's happening here.
Yeah, this is actually an incredible thing to see, because they're almost acting like they're running scared. They're like, oh, like with people moving to electric cars in the next 10 years, let's build this like Wall-E-esque society, but it's on Earth, and we're all just gonna be floating on futons and shit.
Yeah,
like,
Wall-E-esque. That sounds fun.
But I mean, like we saw what happened to the people in that movie. But no, I mean, their entire thing, and the reason why I don't doubt that we're gonna see this is, I mean, like look at the rest of the area. They've like built cities and oceans out of nothing.
Man,
so
it's true.
We're gonna see it, and I'm sure it's gonna like they're gonna try to make it look super glamorous to live there. But I don't know.
Are you skeptical?
Oh, come on. We would not be doing our job on this podcast if I was not skeptical. But I'm not going to go too far because you don't know where they are.
Yeah, and as you heard in the beginning, I'm now a conservative trickle-down economist. So Denny, this project it's going to create a lot of jobs. It's going to do a lot. It's going to do a lot of good, bro. It's going to do a lot of good.
All right. Let's move out of Saudi Arabia and on to Russia. I know
please.
We're just
fun.
We're just so light today.
We go to fucking Jamaica or something, please.
Oh, hey, their bobsled team back at the next Winter Olympics. So how about this? All right, Benny. Next headline is oligarch hoops a Jace. The Russian Foreign Ministry said on Friday that they are open to a call with U.S. Secretary of State to discuss a possible prisoner swap involving Brittany Griner. We've talked about the Brittany Griner situation on this pod a bit. But the weird thing about this entire story is the way that it broke in the media almost was like how they've been talking about potential Kevin Durant deals. Be like, we're going to swap Brittany Griner and a first-round pick for the Merchant of Death.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how
it sounded like the fucking trade machine, like when people are talking about it.
So, man, the fact that the U.S. government couldn't get at least a pick swap makes me a little upset. But this actually isn't funny, but this happens all the time, how like governments like swap prisoners and stuff like that. So what do you make of how this is all kind of unfolding in public? I feel like this should be like, we should know about this right now.
No. And this was one of the weird things about it was like, I remember when this story first broke, and one of my first reactions was like, ugh, like I hope like the whole like media machine doesn't get behind this, because it's going to turn this into something like crazy. And I hope that they can manage to get her out like before it turns into that. Then, a couple months later, like kind of the floodgates opened, and it was this, like free BG thing going, and like all of a sudden you weren't doing your, your service as a famous person if you didn't say something about it, and it became that thing. And I thought that was going to lead exactly to the point we were, which is it's high profile enough now for Russia to turn it into a completely different thing. But in reality now, I mean, it's probably the reason she was arrested in the first place. It's like, a very, notable American person, made a mistake, which is obviously not very fucking serious. I mean, that's the crazy thing about all this. And they got to capitalize it, and they probably knew it, from the get-go. If you just keep her long enough, the machine will start in America, and then we can turn it into this. So it's probably the reason she was taken in the first place. And one of the reasons it's sad that, these very accomplished people in the US, like someone as accomplished as Brittany Griner, still makes more, 2, 3, 4 times as much money over there and has to put herself in those situations to go get paid. Like, you don't see any of the other professional athletes having to do that. So, that part bothers me. And the thing that's just sad about it now is like, it's not confirmed yet. It's not definitely going to happen. So now I think like we're just, going into like a game of geopolitics that's so much bigger than Brittany Griner and so much bigger than basketball, where like these things are now just being used as like pawns in a much bigger and scarier game than was even available to him first. And if this trade or whatever is denied, the implications are like really serious and like whatever happens. So I think this is still an ongoing thing until she actually gets home. I think just the take away like the legality of it and consider the fact that like somebody who likes to get a little high is being traded for somebody named the Merchant of Death. I mean, that's just the fucking world we live in, the bizarre world we live in at this point. But it's a sad story. It's weird. I hope she comes home soon. I hope everyone comes home soon. It's over. But this is just like, it's like a scratch in in a much bigger issue, that's just kind of scary to think about.
And the crazy thing is like she didn't even have like joints. Like she had like some hash and like some CBD oil for
Oh
like
yeah,
pain and like
come on.
and pain management and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. This is it's like I struggle with this story because it's like, you want to get innocent people out of a bad situation as much as possible, but are you really like the Justice Department is opposed to this? By the way, they're like, we worked hard to get this guy in our custody, and we're going to give it up for Brittany Griner. That's a tough that's a really tough thing to swallow for I think everybody involved here.
Yeah, I mean it seems crazy. Like
Yeah.
all of it just seems crazy. But you know, are is this country and like the people are we actually willing to let Brittany Griner sit in a jail for 10 years?
Yeah.
Because that's the other
That's the other side of this, right?
that is the other alternative. You could just say, okay, she was caught doing something, albeit, super minor to a country like us, but restricted heavily there. And this is the sentence, and this is what you have to do. And then you don't give up the Merchant of Death. And this is when, the theater of geopolitics and whatever the fuck is happening that's bigger than us starts to take play and take root. And it just gets so much larger and spun on a level that is hard to even understand, man.
So yeah, we're hoping Brittany Griner gets home soon. The WNBA season has been incredible, and they've missed her a bunch. We did a bunch of stuff at work at All-Star Weekend, and everybody kind of shared the same thoughts. Kind of get her home. The ESPYs did a whole thing, so people are supporting her. It's just like the way that this is all unfolding is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's sad.
All right, let's get to Benny. We got some contract talks this week and some interesting clauses. In the era of player empowerment, teams are throwing a bunch of things in. Let's get to some football first. In the past week, Cardinal quarterback Kyler Murray got paid. However, the Cardinals wanted some insurances as they added an independent film study, which almost sounds like he's a sophomore at Brown, to his contract, or they'll take away some money. They want him to study film for 4 hours a week, which, when you're paying a guy over $200 million, sounds about right. Kyler Murray took offense to this. He's like, I won't let my work ethic be in question, which they would not put this in if your work ethic wasn't in question. So the team wants to protect himself. Kyler Murray wants to protect his reputation. Benny, who's right here? Or is nobody right?
Well, it's just kind of like stunning let's go back on this story to try to even understand it. Like, the teams are leaking these stories, right?
Yeah.
Why? Do you actually think this is like an insurance clause or something? Like, if it doesn't work out, you're like, look, we knew it. We tried to put it in the contract. He fucked it up. No, like, you paid the guy. You know what I mean? Like And what are you going to do? You're going to follow him around for 4 hours a week, like with a spy on his shoulder, making sure that this happens or something like that part of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because it's not good for anyone for this to be public information. It seems so strange that it leaked because in both cases it makes both sides look bad. Like it makes the Cardinals look bad for shelling out money to someone they clearly didn't trust. It makes Kyler Murray look bad, that as obviously apparently someone who can't play video games uninterrupted for more than 4 hours a week. Like, and you tell this stuff to normal people. This isn't like don't ride a motorcycle in the off season stuff.
This is like,
This
dude,
is,
yeah.
can you please study for 4 hours a week? Denny, that's 35 minutes a day.
Yeah.
That's 1/10 of the average work week in this country to do this. So it makes Kyler Murray look pretty awful, honestly. But I can't understand for the life of me why the team would want this out and make your quarterback who you just put all that money in look awful. Where's this coming from?
Unless the team may have leaked it, but what's more likely is that Kyler Murray's agent went to like a Schefter or like a Rappaport and was like trying to get this out of the contract. So the agent leaks it to the reporter so that it becomes a public thing. It becomes a big skeptic, a big sight on seeing on the team, and they get it taken out of the contract. So,
I don't see that though, but it's like an agent's like paramount job to like maintain your client's reputation. It is. Like there's no way an agent who works on behalf of a fucking player, you know what I mean? They're not just out there working rogue. That's hard for me to believe that those two came up with a plan to release this information to stay ahead of the team. Like it's all about reputation and agents. That's like what they do is try to protect the reputation. Like, so if this never comes out, that protects the reputation far more than it coming out. That doesn't seem sensible to me.
No, because you want this on public record, because chances are he's not going to live up to the contract. There's going to be some sort of buyout and things like that. You want to get all of the guaranteed money. The NFL is the number one league in taking away guaranteed money. So if this is a public thing and say he falls short of this, he gets the most money possible. At the end of the day, reputation comes second to the amount of money his client's going to get.
So, I mean, but does this like really like Cardinals are going to be like, well, we were checking in on it and he only did 3 hours and 50 minutes last week and we're going to withhold this week's paycheck or like what happens with this?
I mean, this is the NFL. This is the same league that your paycheck every Sunday gets taxed depending on what state you're in. So if you play 2 games in California, you're going to be missing a lot more money than if you play in Florida or Texas. So the NFL, man, dude, if there's any league that is like a penny pincher, it's the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Ooh. It's weird, but we have another contract situation as well. And we go down to Zion Williamson. He signed an extension to stay with the Pelicans. There's some speculation over whether he'd want to stay there or not. He signed it, but the Pelicans added a couple of escalators in his salary, his $193 million contract. If he makes an All-NBA team, wins MVP or named Defensive Player of the Year, he could make up to $231 million. That's the awesome news. The bad news is they've also added some, I'm not sure what the opposite of an escalator is. If it's an elevator, I'm not sure.
De-escalator.
A de-escalator, that's right. That stipulates that he will have periodic weigh-in periods. So they're just going to check his body fat. And if the sum of the weight of his body fat, it must be below 295. If not, the guaranteed money diminishes, which is, I don't think I'm sure that this has happened before, but not with a guy who you want to be the face of your franchise.
Yeah. Well, again, this is one of those things where this one makes even less sense to me because, again, like I'm having a hard time understanding why an agent or his camp would release this. And this was a team who was like, unlike the Cardinals, who were, in a situation of like, do we not overpay for this guy? Like, yes, he's not worth that money, but he's also a top 10, 12 quarterback in the league, and you have to pay that rate to keep one of those guys. Like, in the Kirk Cousins kind of way. Like, Kyler Murray is one of those bad contracts it's a going rate. It's what, your middle tier starting NFL quarterbacks are making. So it was more of a questionable decision. Like New Orleans, they had to re-sign Zion. They desperately wanted to re-sign Zion. They didn't want to be the team that lost Zion off of his rookie contract. They would have put any fucking clauses he wanted in there to get that contract. So that's again another reason I wonder, Denny,
Yeah.
did both of these guys know about these clauses in the contracts? Because like I can't see Zion being like, nah, fuck that. Like, you're not putting that in my contract. And then what? New Orleans is reneging the deal because of that? I don't think so. So did they even know about it?
Unless they were. So once again, how this comes down to money, I could see a situation where, because I think Zion's value right now is still really high. What's it going to be next year? I mean, I still think he'd get close to the max, but with the way bird rights work and everything, his best option financially is to stay in New Orleans. They can offer him the most amount of money. So it's either take all of these things that Griff and everybody over there put in, or you kind of test your market value later. And the agent, like I said, is going to want to get the most for his client. But yeah, the fact that, I mean, I think they got these like escalators with and everything like that. It was kind of like, okay, we'll give you the 231 million with all these escalators, but you have to give us this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But like again, this is where
because he's missed a lot of games, man.
But also the enforcement of these rules is
Yeah.
what seems so crazy to me. That's where like I'm imagining like, what are you sending like an intern with like a Cardinals clipboard to sit behind Murray, like to make sure he doesn't check his phone while he's watching like this happens in people's homes.
Yeah.
Like he's only gonna have to say, sure, I did this for 30. Like he could put the shit on in the shower and not even watch it. I don't know. And like really, you're gonna bring this guy in and fucking test his fat? Like how often?
Yeah.
Like how often we doing this? Like what is this weird body experiment we're doing? Like every time he comes to the stadium, like that's where I'm having a hard time understanding. Like, maybe they're just like those BS like protection rules in the contracts, like those force majeure things. Like when it's like, yeah, we'll cover you unless a fucking earthquake hits your house. It's like, sure, we'll pay you unless you're like obviously like super overweight or like obviously have no idea what's going on in the field. Like these are probably both things that are in there maybe as protections that are clear. They're so unimaginably enforceable that I don't think they're going to be enforced on that kind of level. They can't be.
The Kyler one, I don't think will be enforced as much. I think this is the last we're going to hear about it. But the Zion thing, man, that's a big.
But it's a stipulation. It's like 295 or a certain fat. So like Zion could fucking bulk up like crazy and get to 295 probably if he wanted, and then you got to do like he could look like Terry Crews. I don't know. It's fucking weird, man.
Hey, well, he's in the wrong city for that. I can tell you that. But
oh yeah, tough city to keep weight off. That is true. I never even considered that. That is a food fucking city for sure. Delicious food too.
Yikes. All right.
Last thing, po' boy fix.
Yeah, that's right. He just gets some fried shrimp every single day.
Every
my
day.
Goodness.
Yikes.
All right, Benny. Last thing before we get out of here. The latest on Kevin Durant. We're just gonna keep updating the audience. The Heat have pulled out. The Raptors don't want to part with Scotty Barnes. Ben Stradamus over here said it day one, looking before everybody else jumped on the bandwagon. The Celtics offer, though, was interesting. Jaylen Brown, first round pick, Derek White, The Nets the Nets would have gone in on this if the Celtics provided Marcus Smart. They did not want to do that. Would a package of Brown, White, Smart, and picks interest you for Kevin Durant?
Sure. And that's why Boston won't do it. Well, I mean, Boston picks are Boston picks. They don't really, they're usually never going to be great. They're going to be protected. I don't think you're getting any kind of like usually franchise altering player like with Boston picks, or the chances are low. But you're bringing back Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart. Then all of a sudden, you're giving me two surefire, starting borderline all-star, all defensive team type players who bring things to the table that are really interesting. And all of a sudden the Nets are automatically just as good if you bring those two back. And Boston may not be. Like, I don't know if they're willing to do it. I mean, they came so close last year, and with a squad that besides for Al Horford, all are trending up and young and signed and still have potential. And like, if you trade the farm for Kevin Durant right now, it takes a huge swing on the next couple years where, yeah, sure, you got fucking Tatum and Durant kicking on all cylinders. That's a fun thing to think about. Just the way Kawhi Leonard and Paul George was a fun thing to think about that we've never fucking seen, really. So like, I think Boston's not into this like theoretical outcome. They're into the outcome of what we just saw. And unless we can get much better, we're not going to do it. But the mistake was, and this is not, like my take or anything, it's been highly publicized, is like this does like alter a chemistry to some point. Jaylen Brown's always, there was the questions for years, like who is first fiddle, Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum? Then, as the years go on, you're like, okay, it's Tatum for like a number of reasons. And I think Brown, not happily, but went into that secondary role more and embraced like a certain, element of what he can do on the floor to coexist with Jason Tatum and actually do this. And then, this experiment works so well that you get this far in the, to the finals last year. And the first offseason right after is like, oh, I'm in trade fucking rumors again. And Boston's making no effort to say, no, we have no interest in trading Jaylen Brown. So, which they probably maybe would have been well suited to do if they didn't think the trade was going to happen. So I think Boston's put their foot in far enough now where they may have to like stay in the mix now, like to see, not that they're definitely going to do the deal, but it's like they already ruffled the bed so much that they might as well stay in the bed and see if they can get what they want or see if something's going to happen out of it. So I think these talks are still ongoing with Boston and Brooklyn, and I wouldn't totally rule it out. If Brown and Smart came back, if it was just Brown and White, I don't think so. Brown and Smart, sure, I'll take that. So we'll see what happens there. But Denny, as you called me, I like this Ben Stradamus. I said it months ago. I was like, I can tell I'm about to get emails from the Nets about the big three coming back. Simmons, Irving, Durant. They'll finally get to see this big three. I'm like, and even with all these trade talks, like it's just, Kyrie's in a position where he just like really has to cement his value if he wants his next contract. And that's, we've seen it a million times in pro sports. If there's anything that gets a guy to play, it's getting his new fucking contract. So, Kyrie's here. Ben Simmons has taken his fucking jacked Instagram shots, as I also predicted.
Yeah.
Durant might stick around, and
Seth Curry, Royce O'Neal, good stuff.
No, I mean, and that's where, you got to give Marks credit for keeping on. Like, he re-signs Claxton, re-signs Mills, Joe Harris comes back, Seth Curry's on the team. You have a second year out of Cam Thomas and like a couple interesting players back there. Day'Ron Sharp. I know I'm getting deep now, but also like like, think about this as a realistic thing, right? No trade goes through. The Nets have to start the season like this. It's like realistic to me that this team comes out and all of a sudden you're like, oh, the Nets are 12-3
Hmm.
and they beat like Miami on the road, or they have like a couple premier wins or something, or a couple TV wins. And you know how quick fucking narratives shift, man.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't take long. It takes like one really dominant win against a good team for everyone to go, oh, Nets are here, after like 2 years of hating. So, those options are still very much on the table. I'd like you to fish up that video at some point so I can take some credit for this.
Will do. And then this trade request from Kevin Durant joins the likes of Kobe Bryant going on, like a kid in LA on his flip phone, asked Kobe if he wanted to be traded a few years ago when all of the Colorado stuff was happening, and he was like, I'm never gonna play for the Lakers again, and this is gonna join that.
Yeah, that was beyond trade conjecture.
Yeah.
I mean, he was literally on wax.
Yeah.
Being like, no, I'll never play for the Lakers again.
This is just a Shams tweet. Yeah.
So it's, this is a thing.
Yeah.
My ticket price might actually be worth it. I didn't think so. I'm almost glad the reps didn't write me back.
See? Trickle down economics. All right. Plenty of ways to get in contact with the show. You can email us at thetunapodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. We're doing every week we're going live on YouTube. Join us, join the party. It's a bunch of fun. Benny is off social media, but hey, if you want to see him on tour, he's coming to your city. GaslightAnthem.com for ticks, not Ticketmaster. GaslightAnthem.com.
I can't even tell you.
Well,
I couldn't even tell you. I'm sorry.
You ruined it because I had the whole number one in your mind, number one in your heart, but then you're like, I'm not going to be on social media anymore. So
sorry. I got an Instagram still.
Hey, Benny Horowitz on Instagram. Hit him up. I'm at Deny Gallagher on Instagram. You know the drill. Benny, do you got anything else?
Yeah, I think I got to be extra liberal next week to make up for this.
Oh my
gosh.
This
is a scary episode. What's happening?
We're going to have Cesar Chavez over here.
God.
All right, the show has ended. Go in peace. You've been listening to The Tune Up.